Stop scrolling, cancel your meetings, lock your door, close the blinds, and turn the volume all the way up. I mean it. Do not let anything distract you for the next few minutes. Because the tennis world has just experienced a massive, unprecedented earthquake, and the
Stop absolutely everything you're doing right now in this exact second. Do not scroll past this video. Do not swipe away to another app. Cancel your meetings. Put your phone on airplane mode. Disconnect your Wi-Fi from every other device in your entire house. Lock your door. Close your blinds. And turn the volume on your speakers all the way up until the bass is literally shaking your floorboards. I need your absolute, undivided, unblinking, hyper-focused attention for the next few minutes. Because the unthinkable has not just happened, music. It has been officially, publicly, and globally endorsed by the highest, most untouchable power, music, in the entire history of the sport. The global landscape of the Women's Tennis Association has just experienced a cataclysmic, earth-shattering, extinction-level event, and the mainstream American sports media is currently running a massive, desperate, highly coordinated cover-up to protect their shattered illusions. Yesterday, we sat here and we talked about the total unmitigated psychological execution of Coco Gauff on the massive stage of Indian Wells. We talked about how Eala, the 20-year-old rising star and pride of the Philippines, music stepped under the blinding stadium lights and completely systematically broke the spirit of the reigning American superstar. We exposed the absolute truth behind Coco Gauff's cowardly panicked music forfeit. We laughed at the fake medical excuses the American broadcasters were stuttering through on live television as Gauff, music, retired due to a supposed arm injury. We knew that Eala had completely destroyed the establishment's billion-dollar golden child in a music match that lasted a mere 54 minutes before the American was forced to wave the white flag. But I am going to be completely brutally honest with you right now. What happened on the court was only the beginning of the nightmare for the tennis establishment. What happened on the court was just the physical manifestation of the battle. What happened after the match is the absolute, undeniable, permanent shift in global tennis power, music that has the executives in the boardrooms sweating completely through their expensive suits. Because the story did not end when Coco Gauff grabbed her bags, cited a mysterious fireworks sensation in her arm, music, and fled the stadium in absolute, unadulterated terror. The story actually exploded into a completely new, terrifyingly massive phase, music, just hours later. What we are talking about today is not a tennis scorecard. It is not a statistical breakdown of unforced errors. It is the absolute definitive coronation of the new queen of the WTA. It is the notification that popped up on the phones of every single terrified tennis executive, every single panicking sponsor, and every single veteran player hiding in the locker room. RAFAEL Nadal, the king of clay, the legendary 22-time Grand Slam champion, the ultimate untouchable, mythical symbol of tennis royalty. The man who literally defines the concepts of mental fortitude, physical suffering, and absolute unyielding victory on a tennis court. RAFAEL Nadal has bypassed the entire mainstream sports media machine to send music, a powerful public, undeniably explosive message of praise and validation directly to Eala. And let me tell you right now, the entire tennis establishment is absolutely shaking in their custom-made, heavily sponsored tennis shoes. The fallout from Nadal's unwavering support is so incredibly toxic and so deeply devastating to the old guard that they do not even know how to process it. You have to understand the dark, cutthroat, deeply political underworld of professional music, tennis to truly grasp why this connection with RAFAEL Nadal is acting like a nuclear bomb in the WTA group chats. When a young player comes up and gets a shocking upset over an established, highly ranked, heavily protected American superstar like Coco Gauff, the standard locker room protocol, the unwritten rule of the establishment, is to immediately dismiss it. They sweep it under the rug. They try to erase it from the public memory. They call music a fluke. They tell the media that the veteran just had a bad day, or the wind was tricky, or they rely on excuses like Gauff claiming her whole arm felt like it was on fire. The established cliques try to isolate the young player, give them the cold shoulder in the players' cafeteria, refuse to practice with them, and wait for Music, the immense crushing pressure of the year-long tour to eventually break them down and put them, music, back in their assigned place at the bottom of the hierarchy. But Rafael Nadal just took that unwritten locker room playbook, ripped it into 1,000 tiny pieces, covered it in aviation fuel, and set it on fire for the whole entire world to see. By publicly validating Eala's brutal, suffocating rise, Nadal did not just say congratulations. He did not just send a polite nod of approval. Music crowned her. He threw the entire massive, inescapable gravitational weight of his historic legacy, his elite academy, and his billion-dollar global empire directly behind the 20-year-old Filipina phenom. We have seen this legendary backing before. Music, when Eala makes these historic paradigm-shifting runs, the king of clay himself descends from the mountain to publicly declare, "We are extremely proud of you, Alex. What an incredible tournament. Let's keep dreaming." And the veteran players, the American media syndicate, and the corporate sponsors are absolutely furious. They are seething. They're pulling their hair out because they suddenly realize they aren't just fighting a young rookie from the Philippines anymore. They are fighting Music for the chosen, hand-picked, officially endorsed successor of the Nadal bloodline. Eala is a proud elite graduate of the Rafael Nadal Academy, and that changes the entire power dynamic of the sport. We are getting explosive, highly credible reports from hitting partners, elite swing coaches, and inside sources standing outside the Indian Wells Players Lounge that the atmosphere is completely toxic right now. The seated players are looking at their phones, seeing the undeniable connection between Eala, Music, and Nadal, and feeling a deep, sickening, inescapable sense of inevitability in the pits of their stomachs. Think about the intense, suffocating psychological warfare happening here. The American media has spent 5 years trying to convince the world that Coco Gauff is the undisputed heir to the throne. Music, they invested hundreds of millions of dollars into that specific manufactured narrative. And in one single night, Eala broke Gauff's mind on the court, forcing a retirement. And the Nadal connection broke the media's narrative off the court. Imagine the absolute paralyzing panic in the Coco Gauff camp right now. You just suffered the most humiliating public mental breakdown of your entire career. You quit a match in front of your home fans because you were too terrified to face the relentless pressure of your opponent. You sat in a press conference and claimed you had never felt anything like this before regarding the pain in your arm, begging the media to believe your excuse. You were sitting in your hotel room desperate, Music, for someone to validate your fake injury. Desperate for someone to tell you that you are still the best. And what is the reality outside your door? The greatest gladiator, Music, in the history of the sport, Rafael Nadal, has recently shared the court with Eala for Music private practice sessions, proving that he views her as a true peer. It is the ultimate psychological kill shot. It is a level of disrespect to the American establishment so profound that it permanently shatters egos. But let us dive much deeper into the actual meaning behind this Nadal endorsement. Because Music is not just some random girl with a good forehand who happened to catch Nadal's eye. Elijah was systematically, scientifically forged in the exact same fires on the exact same brutal red clay of Mallorca that built one of the greatest, most relentless champions in human history. She is a product of an environment designed to create absolute monsters on the tennis court. Let me paint a terrifying picture for the rest of the WTA Music Tour of what that actually means. The RAFAEL NADAL Academy is not a summer music camp. It is not a country club where you sip lemonade, wear white sweaters, and hit a few casual balls. It is a military boot camp for tennis terminators. Music, they break you down mentally and physically until the only thing left inside of your soul is a pure, obsessive, almost psychotic desire to win every single point, as if your actual life depends on it. When I was out there on Stadium 1 suffocating Coco Gauff, forcing those catastrophic double faults and standing like an absolute titanium brick wall on the baseline, she wasn't just playing her own game. She was actively channeling the exact same ruthless, never-say-die gladiatorial mentality that Rafael Nadal used to completely break the souls of his rivals for over 2 decades. She was hitting heavy, punishing topspin. Music, she was refusing to give an inch of ground. She was looking Coco Gauff directly in the eyes and telling her without speaking a single word, "You're going to have to literally kill me to win this match." And I can see in your terrified eyes that you do not have the heart to do it. Music, and the most chilling part of the entire Indian Wells execution was exactly how Eala handled the aftermath. While Coco Gauff was scrambling to explain away her panic attack as music, a firework in her arm, Eala gave an absolute masterclass in psychological dominance disguised music as pure class. On International Women's Day, Eala grabbed the microphone and delivered a post-match speech that will go down in history. She looked out at the massive American crowd. She smiled her beautiful, completely unbothered smile, and she graciously thanked Coco Gauff for her leadership and class on and off the court. Music, do you understand the absolute bone-chilling brilliance of that specific moment? She completely dismantled the face of American tennis, forced her to quit in a panic, and then graciously thanked her for being a role model. It is the ultimate undisputed power move. It shows the entire locker room that Eala music is completely unaffected by the drama. It proves that she is totally grounded, absolutely graceful, and terrifyingly focused on the bigger picture. Music, she isn't just trying to win matches. She is trying to win the absolute hearts of the global public. And she is succeeding flawlessly. The veterans in the locker room are seething with a jealousy so thick and so heavy that you could literally cut it with a chainsaw.
Why?
Music, because you absolutely cannot buy that kind of authentic composure. And you cannot buy the endorsement of RAFAEL Nadal. You can win a Grand Slam. You can sign a massive multi-million-dollar television deal. You can get custom apparel from Nike or Adidas, but you cannot under any circumstances for any amount of money buy the authentic, undeniable public respect and praise of the King of Clay. The established players have spent the last 10 years, music, grinding their bones to dust on this tour. They have smiled for the cameras. They have done the grueling fake press junkets. They have begged on their hands and knees for the approval of the tennis legends. And Nadal barely even acknowledges their existence. He stays in his lane. He minds his own business. But Eala destroys the American golden child, forces a humiliating forfeit, and the legacy of Nadal stands firmly behind her, acting as an invisible, bulletproof shield. Music, it creates a total catastrophic, irreversible hierarchy. Collapse within the WTA. The veterans feel entirely disrespected. Music, they feel like the industry is violently bypassing them. They feel like the spotlight, the primetime night matches, the massive global sponsorships, and the television ratings are being violently ripped out of their hands and handed to Eala on a silver platter. All because she carries the untouchable Nadal Academy seal of approval. Music, but let's be completely honest with ourselves here because we do not deal in fake news on this channel. It is not just jealousy radiating from the veteran locker room. It is pure, unadulterated, primal, paralyzing fear because Nadal's backing is a direct, undeniable warning shot to the rest of the WTA Tour. Music, it essentially says to the entire locker room, she is with me. She trains with my blood, my sweat, and my tears.
She plays like me.
She thinks like me, and she is coming for absolutely all of you. Every single one of your trophies belongs to her. Now, imagine being a top 10 player in the world right now, sitting in the players' cafeteria. You just watched the horrifying tape of Eala mentally breaking Coco Gauff into a million tiny irreparable pieces. Music, you saw the ice-cold composure. You saw the heavy, punishing ground strokes. Music, you saw the absolute terrifying refusal to back down from a dogfight. And now you know with absolute terrifying certainty that when Eala goes back to the locker room or when she calls her team after a match, she isn't just seeking advice from some random overpriced tour music coach who tells her what she wants to hear. She considers the ultimate mental giant of the sport, the man who possesses the greatest psychological dominance in tennis history, to be her personal mentor, her idol, and her ultimate blueprint. She has the ultimate cheat code to tennis psychology programmed directly into her brain by the master himself. How do you possibly prepare for an opponent who is backed by the king? How do you scheme against a player who has the entire philosophy of RAFAEL Nadal flowing through her veins? You don't. You can't. You just sit in your hotel room, look at the tournament draw, see her name next to yours, and absolutely panic. You start thinking about faking an injury just like Coco Gauff did, just to avoid the public humiliation of being systematically dismantled on international television. The player union circles, the music sports agencies, and the massive management companies are quietly panicking as well. The executive boardrooms in New York and London are in a state of absolute unprecedented chaos. They know better than anyone else that Eala is about to become an unstoppable global commercial juggernaut. In the world of high-stakes sports marketing, when the Nadal legacy is invoked, the billionaires listen. The luxury music brands, the massive tournament directors, and the global television executives are all going to pivot immediately, aggressively, and shamelessly towards Eala because she now has the ultimate stamp of legendary approval. The veterans are absolutely terrified that they are about to become completely irrelevant overnight. They are terrified that they are going to be relegated to playing their matches on Court 18 at 10 o'clock in the morning in front of empty bleachers and a few sleeping pigeons while Alexa is playing primetime music night sessions on Arthur Ashe Stadium, Center Court at Wimbledon, and Philippe Chatrier in Paris. And let's talk about the fan base, because this is where the American media completely and utterly miscalculated. They thought they could protect Coco Gauff because she had the loud American crowd behind her. But Alexa is not just backed by the Nadal aura. She is backed by the entire country of the music incredibly loyal, fiercely patriotic sports fan base of over 115 million people combined with the entire global, terrifyingly massive RAFAEL Nation. It is an army of supporters that no other player on the WTA Tour can even comprehend, let alone compete against in the stadium or on social media. The veterans know that from a media standpoint, they have already completely lost the music war. If they play Eala, the crowd will be against them. The internet will be against them. The commentators will be forced to talk about her. The narrative will be entirely focused on the unstoppable 20-year-old prodigy. And what about the revenge factor? Let's talk about the dark, petty side of the professional tour. The players who are close to Coco Gauff, the established music cliques, the mean girls of the WTA Tour who have controlled the locker room dynamics for years. They are allegedly in their private, encrypted group chats right now, plotting how to humble Eala. They want to send a message back. They are talking about how they want to physically bully her on the court. They want to hit the ball straight at her body at the net to intimidate her. They want to give her cold, dismissive, disrespectful handshakes when the match is over. They want to use their media press conferences to throw subtle shade, downplaying music's her massive success, calling her overhyped, and claiming that she only wins because her opponents have sudden fireworks in their arms. But they know deep down in their terrified bones that they are completely trapped. They are in a permanent, inescapable checkmate position because if they attack Eala, they aren't just attacking a new 20-year-old rising star on the tour. They are actively attacking Rafael Nadal's legacy. They are insulting his academy. They risk bringing the absolute wrath of the most beloved figure in tennis down upon their own heads. They risk turning the entire global tennis world, every major sponsor, and every single fan permanently and violently against themselves. Eala currently has an invisible bulletproof titanium shield around her forged in the fires of Mallorca, sanctioned by the King of Clay, and the realization that they cannot touch her without destroying their own careers is driving her rivals absolutely positively insane. Let's look ahead to what this actually means for the rest of the tennis calendar. Music, think about the upcoming Grand Slams. Think about Roland Garros, the French Open, the absolute undisputed kingdom of Rafael Nadal. When Eala steps onto the red clay of Paris, she is not going to be treated like a normal player. She is going to be treated like absolute divine royalty. The French crowd, who famously worships the exact music ground that Nadal walks on, is going to adopt her as their own daughter. The pressure on anyone who has to play her will be literally suffocating. Music. Imagine drawing Eala in the first round of the French Open. You aren't just playing a tennis match against a girl with a good forehand. Music. You are playing against destiny. You are playing against the ghosts of 14 Roland Garros championships. You are playing against the spirit of the dirt itself. Music. The locker room paranoia is going to reach levels we have never ever seen in the entire history, music of a sport. Players are going to be hyper-analyzing the tournament draws, praying to whatever god they believe in that they are on the opposite side of the bracket from Eala. We are hearing whispers that some established veterans might even miraculously develop minor lingering injuries and pull out of smaller tournaments entirely just to avoid the utter career-ending humiliation of being dismantled by Eala on international television. Because right now, to play Eala is to risk being permanently exposed to the entire world. Coco Gauff was the ultimate sacrificial lamb. The American Golden Child showed the entire world what happens when standard overhyped WTA power tries to break the Nadal-forged defensive wall. Music, it results in an embarrassing 54-minute collapse. It results in a complete, total, music and utterly humiliating psychological breakdown culminating in a panicked forfeit, music, in front of your home crowd. And absolutely no veteran on this tour wants to be the next highlight reel of a mental collapse. They do not want to end up on this channel being exposed, music for their weakness. Every single time Alexa steps onto the court from this exact moment forward, music, the dynamic of the sport is permanently and irrevocably changed. The earth has shifted on its axis. She is no longer the underdog hoping for a lucky break in the qualifiers. She is no longer the rising star looking for a learning experience. She is the executioner. She is the final boss. The brutal dominating match against Coco Gauff was the violent, undeniable proof of concept. And the undeniable connection to RAFAEL Nadal's greatness is the official terrifying launch of a brand new era of absolute domination. The veterans can complain in their private WhatsApp, music groups all they want. They can roll their eyes at the practice courts. They can pretend they aren't intimidated when the cameras are flashing and music. They are giving their fake, PR-trained answers to the journalists. But when the umpire calls time, when the massive stadium goes dead quiet, and when they have to look across the net and see Eala standing there on the baseline, bouncing the ball, wiping the sweat from her brow with that exact same terrifying, unwavering, dead-eyed focus, it's a different story. They're going to see the ghost of RAFAEL Nadal staring right back into their souls. They're going to see a player who does not care about their ranking, who does not care about their history, who does not care about their millions of Instagram followers, and who is fully psychotically prepared to stand on that court for 5 hours straight to take absolutely everything they have worked their entire lives to build. I need you to completely, absolutely flood the comment section of this video right now. Music, I need the Eala army to mobilize like never before in the history of the internet. I need you to make your voices heard so loudly, so aggressively, and with such overwhelming force that the mainstream sports media, the terrified executives, and the panicking players in the locker room cannot possibly ignore the truth anymore. I want you to share this video everywhere. I want you to send it to every single tennis fan you know. What is your immediate reaction to the undeniable greatness of Eala music after she destroyed the American establishment and forced Coco Gauff to quit? Do you agree that the veterans are now completely terrified to even speak her name because of the Nadal shield protecting her? Music. How incredibly loud is the IGA Swiatek army going to be when she steps onto the clay at Roland Garros to claim her destiny? Is there anyone, absolutely anyone left on this entire professional tour that can possibly stop our girl now? Or is the rest of the season just a massive, unstoppable victory lap? Music, drop your wildest celebrations, your deepest tactical analysis, your loudest cheers, and your absolute boldest predictions for her championship run in the comments below. Music, the revolution is not coming. The revolution is already here. The establishment is in ashes, and Eala is leading the absolute charge to the top of the mountain. Let's go.